Take a picture of it.
Okay, I can hear something in the background, Dwight.
It's my doctor.
Oh, okay. No, I just let me wait until
All right.
until I cannot hear him.
Can I draw it here? Should I?
Right there.
Right there? Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I won't bother you. Keep talking.
Okay.
Pretty quick.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. Just a CMP, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'm trying to get the,
Okay, are we ready?
Give me 2 minutes.
Okay. Hey, everybody, we're going to be talking about Rahm Emanuel, the former mayor of Chicago, who became the ambassador to Japan. A lot of people were, well, bothered by that because of the way that he was really forced out of the mayor's seat in Chicago. So, because he helped to cover up the murder of a teenager by the name of Laquan McDonald in his effort to be reelected. But prior to that, he closed more than 50 schools in the Black community, named after Black heroes in history, as a matter of fact. And when confronted by the now deceased head of the teachers union, a real powerhouse, Karen Lewis, she was making a plea for Black and brown children. And he said, well, 25% of them won't make it anyway. So I want to know what your thoughts are about that. Bernadette, like and share, like and share, like and share. The mayor of Chicago at this point is so unpopular that he could, that many Black Chicagoans are pledging to go MAGA. And I want to know what your thoughts are about all this. Would he have a chance to re-emerge in this environment? It's so
somebody
contentious.
gonna come at that
So
time?
we're going to start off in a hot second as soon as I get. Oh, I know you're glad to see Dwight. Yes, Bernadette. And as soon as we get things quiet in his room, we will begin.
Or what?
I'll tell them. I'll
Of
call.
course, I can't have that in the background when we're on the air.
You waiting on me, Sandy?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was waiting on you.
No, 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 because I just need to make sure it's quiet in the background because that'll interfere with because this is audio that's going to the radio station. Are we about ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're coming up in 20 seconds. Okay. Is there any way for you to? I just want to make sure that everything is as quiet as possible. So
No, I'm
we
at
don't
the
have
hospital.
meetings. Okay. Are you out?
No, I'm inside
Okay.
in a single room.
Okay. No, I can hear
Yeah.
people in the hall.
You can't come
Something.
out, guys.
Okay, we're about ready. Dwight, we're ready. Dwight, you're muted. Dwight, you're muted.
Coming in now to do it, right?
Yeah.
All right. Mhm.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, because I can't have that. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And we're up in 10 seconds.
All right, Mr. McCain, just turn on your stomach so he can quickly do it, okay?
Okay, Dwight, I gotta have quiet.
Okay, I'm doing this here. So you okay with this, sir? So you're not under some.
Yeah, go ahead, Santita.
Okay,
A
let
lot
everyone
of
know
people.
I've got to have okay, I've got to have quiet. All right.
Yeah, I had to close the door.
No, okay, thanks so much. We're up in 5. Hey everybody, welcome to the Santita Jackson Show here on AM 950 Radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota. It is a joy to be with you today. Are you going to be watching the State of the Union? Well, by the time you hear this, we will have heard the State of the Union. Some people are going to boycott it. I want to know what your thoughts are. But today, let us right now talk about Rahm Emanuel, the former mayor of Chicago, who really went out under a cloud of disgrace, if you will. There was a young teenager by the name of Laquan McDonald who was killed by the police, and he helped lead the cover up of his murder in the service of being reelected. And when the truth of that came out, Chicagoans and people all over the country were appalled, as you might recall from the protest in Chicago that went international, quite frankly. And so he said that he was not going to run again, but the fact is he had become so unpopular that he couldn't. But prior to that, he had had a problematic relationship with the Black community because he closed more than 50 schools in the Black community, schools that were named after Black heroes. And when confronted by this heroic woman who headed the Chicago Teachers Union, she's since passed on, the brilliant Karen Lewis, who many people thought could have run for mayor and could have won. She said, look, you are shutting down the education options for our children. He said 25% of them won't make it anyway. Whew. That's the kind of relationship that the Black community had with Rahm Emanuel. And so, much to the chagrin of many, he has been rehabilitated, or certainly there is an effort to rehabilitate him. And he's been on a tour now that he was named the ambassador to Japan, and he is back. And he is saying that I'm not through with public service. I hope public service is not through with me. Now, this is part of the monkey wrench that is thrown into this particular issue. Well, it turns out that we have a mayor, good man, but he's very unpopular right now, extremely unpopular. And in fact, he's met at the city council meetings by a sea of red, a sea of red. And many Blacks there certainly are saying that, hey, we will go MAGA. We are not healing you. Wow. So there's even some speculation that Chicago could clutch the pearls, everybody, get a Republican mayor. Well, what about Rahm Emanuel? And then you hear people talking about, maybe he might be named to replace one of the senators who might leave, namely Dick Durbin. Maybe he'll step down and let him step up. So you tell me what your thoughts are. What about his rehabilitation? What about the red lines? I mean, the insults that he has meted out to the Black community in particular have been profound. So what do you think about that? So, I'm welcoming back our old dear friend, Dr. D, Dwight McKee. Yes, that's right. Bernadette said, welcome back. That's right, Paula. He is back. Yeah, Bernadette, did you say, wow, it's a lot? It is a lot. So, what are your thoughts? Should he be welcomed back? Can he come back? Well, anything is possible. But what do you think is going to happen? Dwight McKee, welcome home to the show. We're so glad that you are on the road to recovery and things are looking up for you. How are you feeling, number one? Dwight, are you there? Oh, my goodness. I hope you are there. Everybody, I want to know what your thoughts are about Rahm Emanuel. Can he make a comeback? You let me know. Hey, Solomon, you said Grand MAGA afternoon. Are you going to be watching the State of the Union tonight? Anybody? Let me know, because some people are saying that there ought to be a boycott. So you let me know. Dwight McKee, are you there? Are you there? Okay. Dwight, you got to let me know if you are there. Okay, everybody, you know what? We're going to start the show all over again. That's what we're going to do. Because I've got to, we got to make a clean start for the show. Okay, so let me do this one more time. You know what? Then shut down and come back on, because I can't hear you at all. Okay, thanks. Okay. Okay, let me take this down. Okay, there we go. So, okay, well, some people are not going to watch. I do plan to watch because I don't want to get secondhand analysis, but I certainly do support people who Reverend Dr. William Barber will be giving an address tonight while the president is speaking. And I can't wait to hear what he has to say, but I do want to hear what the president has to say. Some people are saying they're going to tape the president so that they can drive down his ratings. But the rating system is not quite what it used to be, because many people don't watch television in real time. And I just don't want to wait on anyone's analysis. I want to make my own. I want to have my own judgments, and I'm going to listen to the feedback that we get. So I want to know what your thoughts are going to be about this. So, okay, let me bring up Dwight. Dwight, are we ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I just need to wait to get to the top of this moment so that I can, so that we can edit this properly. One moment, please. We're coming up in 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay, I can hear some papers rustling in the background. Okay, very good. And we're up in 15 seconds. We're up in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Santita Jackson Show here on AM 950 Radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota. Let us talk about political comebacks. Rahm Emanuel, the former mayor of Chicago, who went on to become the ambassador to Japan. Well, it's not quite that simple, because the fact is he was actually he was really pushed out of office because he had become so unpopular. He was someone who helped to lead the cover-up of the murder by police of a young Black teenager, LaFlon McDonald. Many of you remember that case. And when it came out that he had tried to help in the covering up of this case, he said, well, he became very unpopular. He read the room and he bowed out of the race. He said, I won't be running for re-election. But prior to that, Karen Lewis, who had been the head of the Chicago Teachers Union, a fierce advocate for our children, confronted him about his plan to close more than 50 schools in the Black community, named after Black heroes. And he said, look, 25% of them won't make it anyway. Wow. How insulting. So you tell me what your thoughts are, everybody. Do you think that he can come back? And are there some red lines that should not be crossed? You tell me what your thoughts are. Go to Blue Sky. That's where I am now. I'm there also. SantitaJackson.bsky. SantitaJackson.bsky.social. I'm also on Twitter X, at Santita J. You can also go to the Santita Jackson Show. We're streaming there right now. The Santita Jackson Show YouTube channel. Hey, Solomon. Hey, Bernadette. That's right. Follow Bernadette's instructions and like and share. And then, of course, hey, Andre. Hey, Cynthia, Miss Wanda. And everybody, please go to the Santita Jackson YouTube channel and become my friend on Facebook at Santita Jackson and Friends. You know, they depress the algorithms and they manipulate it so people who are progressive like me, they try to depress our listenership. But we're not going to let that happen now, are we? So, all right, everybody, what are your thoughts? Can he make a comeback? Should he make a comeback? And will Black Chicago reopen the door to him? And I say that because many are so angry with Mayor Brandon Johnson, who's a very decent man, who got really dealt a bad hand with the migrant crisis, which he's tried to handle in a humane way. But people are very, very angry with him. That having been said, he has historically low poll numbers, and many are saying, look, I'm not going to vote for you. And when he gets to the city council meetings, oftentimes he is met with a sea of red. Some people are saying they're going to go MAGA. So you tell me, what do you think is going to happen here? Some people are saying that there could even be a Republican mayor of Chicago. Snatch the pearls. Absolutely, that could happen. What does that mean? What does that mean? And could he make this comeback? Could he make this comeback? Dwight McKee, welcome back to the show. It's always a joy to have you. And let me ask you first, how is your health? How are you doing?
I'm improving a little every day, Santita. Thanks for asking.
Okay, no, it's not just me. Everybody's asking, and everyone is praying for you here. Dwight McKee, what is your assessment of Rahm Emanuel? He said, I'm not done with public life. I hope public life is not done with me. What say you?
Well, it depends on what public life he's coveting. If he wants to be the mayor again, I doubt that will happen. I don't think he has the base anymore. I don't think he has the influence. A lot of his influence is waned, which was the Obama influence, and a lot of his influence came from the Democratic National Committee, which is kind of almost defunct now. So I don't think he has the base to pull off a mayoralship, but I think he certainly could be appointed to something. He could be appointed to senator. He could be appointed to a congressional seat. I think he does have the influence for that, depending on who does the appointment. So I wouldn't write him out, depending on what he's trying to become.
Well, he's already put his hat in the ring to support J.B. Pritzker. Should he decide to run for governor once again? So, do you think that could be a precursor of things to come?
Yeah, I think Pritzker would appoint him to some major office.
Or should I say precursor to a harbinger of things to come? So, maybe even the U.S. Senate. Do you think he could do that?
Yeah, I think he could get that position, particularly since Pritzker looks like he wants to run for president. I think that he would bring a lot to Pritzker, mostly fundraising between he and his brother. They're able to garnish a lot of money. And so he would be an asset to Pritzker in that way.
Okay, he'd be an asset to him in that way. But how, it seems like, we're living in a very volatile time. Um, and it's just, the political, the electorate is electric. Given what happened with Laquan McDonald, and maybe we need to go back to that so that we can see, so we can look at that again, because maybe people need reminders. I don't know. I think they do. What happened with Laquan McDonald? Let's go back to that.
Well, young kid got shot 18 times, and Rom created a cover up for it to protect the police who had done it. And it really was what ran him out of office more than anything else. Is that saying 18 shots in a cover up really kind of took him out. So I'm not sure if he was running for.
If he was running for, okay, Dwight, you went right back out. So, what do you think, everybody? Do you think that he could come back in this environment? Do you think that people are so disenchanted with the Democratic Party, or so they're so do you think they're so disenchanted with Mayor Brandon Johnson that Rahm Emanuel could have a chance? You tell me what you think, please. Fill me in. I want to know what your thoughts are. Dwight, have you returned? He actually dropped, but I want to know what your thoughts are, because I tell you, this was a really, really tough time. They suppressed the video of Laquan McDonald's shooting. And there was always, I remember speaking to you, Dwight, and you kept saying that, look, when this video comes out, this will end Rahm Emanuel's political career, at least as mayor of Chicago.
Yeah, his mayoral career
Mm-hmm.
is different than an appointed position now.
Mm-hmm.
You have to run against other people, and you have to run for mayor to be the mayor of Chicago. You need a certain base and a certain level of popularity, which he does not have, given his history with those people. The majority of people being black in Chicago, who would not give him that kind of grace. That's a lot different than an appointed position where you're pretty isolated and insulated, whoever makes the appointment. So Pritzker could stand to make him the senator and survive that. And it's to Pritzker's advantage to appoint him to a position as a senator or congressman because he brings a lot to the table for Pritzker. He brings resources, he brings money, he brings the Jewish community, he brings his brother and all the stars they represent. So he would be an asset if Pritzker appointed him and decided to run for president, whereas he's more a liability in trying to be the mayor of Chicago.
Well, you know what? Bernadette says after the mayor made a statement like that about the children, 25% of them not making it anyway, maybe he is a Saul that is turned into a Paul. Maybe. No, Bernadette. I don't think so. That is not his history. What do you think, Dwight McKee?
I don't see any grounds to believe that. I think he's a racist he's always been, and an arrogant racist.
What do you
I
mean?
just,
What do you mean? Speak to that.
I think he's an arrogant racist who has no hope for black children, who is operating more at a business level than a service level. And I don't see any reason he would have to change. Why would he change? Change for whom? He's going to be wrong wherever he is.
Mm-hmm.
And if that works for him as a congressman, so be it. It will not work for him as a mayoral candidate.
So, but how could it work for him as a senator? I mean, would he then have the power of the incumbency?
Absolutely. And it's a lot of power in being a senator, particularly in this day and age where you operating in the margins. So he'd be able to leverage that, and he'd be able to really, really get behind and help Israel, which is his first love, or soon to be his first love. He's still in that army. He's still a dual citizen of United States and Israel. And so, given the opportunity to help pass major legislation on behalf of Israel would be to his advantage.
Hmm. What do you think, everybody? Do you think that, Andre says there's not much left to the Democratic Party? Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Why do you say that?
Hmm?
Why do you believe that?
Uh, Lack of leadership, um, a house divided, no plans for the future. Yeah, they're right now they're in limbo. Now, whether somebody can come along like your dad and resurrect them is another story. But since he's kind of out of whack, and Obama's kind of out of whack, it's really hard to see where the next level of leadership is coming from.
Well, Reverend is 83 and has Parkinson's. Obama's still very, very active. And I mean, what can't or should he be doing?
No, I'm just saying if somebody of his caliber came along,
Hmm.
I'm not suggesting it would be him.
But do you think that there is something uh, that could? It's just hard to. Well, I mean, they made him ambassador to Japan, even above the objections of many people who were talking about Laquan McDonald. That was brought up, but people went right past that. And when you see this rehabilitation tour that he's on, it is. It's amazing. But Dwight McKay, it's so insulting
Yeah,
that.
but it's real. It shows you how far above when you run for appointed politics, the the popular vote he is, because he brings so much else to the table. And so he had a lot of resistance in being named an ambassador to Japan, but he was named anyway because of other things he brings to a candidate,
Because of the money.
because of the money, because of the contacts. Absolutely. He can raise a lot of money. And his brother can raise a lot of money.
Emmanuel
Yeah.
from Hollywood,
Yes.
and one of the owners of Uber, by the way.
Right.
Well, um, mm, and Andre says Obama would not be interested. Solomon says he loves you. He's speaking truth. Obama is over. Do you think that that's true? I don't think that's true. Dwight McKee,
Yes.
do you think Obama's best days are behind him? He's
Do
only
I
63. 60, yeah, 63.
do I think Obama's what?
Best days are behind him.
Oh,
Solomon says that.
absolutely.
Why do
Yeah,
you say that?
absolutely. I think that he shot his best shot when he was president. He didn't live at a level that people expected him to. And so it cost him a lot of credibility and a lot of legitimacy. In fact, I think his wife right now has more credibility than he does.
So, what did you think? What did you? Let me go back then, because I've never had a chance to ask you about this. What did you make of the presidential campaign?
What I think of what?
What did you make of the presidential campaign with Vice President Harris and then former President Donald Trump? Because you
Well, I
pretty
don't think he ever
convinced.
had their full support.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's helped what cost it helped cause uh, the election for the president.
You mean
Uh,
Kamala?
huh?
Who didn't have whose full support?
I don't think that Biden never had Obama's full support,
Mm-hmm.
and I think by the time they really put energy behind Kamala, uh, it was too late. Even though I don't think she would have won anyway, because I don't think she had a plan to win.
Really?
Right.
So, what do you think her future is now?
What do I think? What?
What do you think of her future now? They're saying
Mr.
that
McKee,
perhaps she should run for governor of
I
California.
understand that, but I'm trying to speak to you about something
Oh,
regarding your health. If you could
okay.
please just
Wait,
mute for a
because I.
moment and ask her.
Hold on.
Oh, you're in the hospital. Okay. So, everybody, you tell me, what do you think? What do you think is going? What do you think is happening? What do you make of this political landscape? Because it changes every day. I can tell you, when I think of, it's not that I ever count anyone out because you never know. You never, ever, ever know. But I can tell you as a Chicagoan, and quite frankly, as someone who has observed politics, what black people felt so affronted, so insulted by Rahm Emanuel's by his behavior here that he could not run again, and everything that he's gotten since he had to step back. I mean, and mind you, everything that he's gotten since he's been appointed to, and you have to remember that his run for the mayor's seat in Chicago was launched from the White House by Barack Obama. Remember that? He was the chief of staff, and he resigned to great aplomb. I'm going home to Chicago, and everybody knew what that meant. Basically, he launched his mayoral campaign from the White House. From the White House. And on the strength of President Obama's popularity, he was swept into office. Swept into office. Even though many people said, he really has a troublesome history racially. But the black community were all in. And because the black community was all in, he was swept into office. And then people got a chance to see what everybody else was talking about. Dwight McKee.
Question is,
Are there any red lines that that should that that the black community and that progressive community should have? Because to me, if he is able to make a comeback, I mean, what does that say?
oh, again, I don't think he can do that. He can do it. It's a lot of bad blood between the black community and Rom. I think it's irreversible too. I don't care how much they don't like the prison mayor. I don't think that would make a big difference. He lost before
Hmm.
and had to leave town. I think it's irreversible.
So, what do you think will happen with Mayor Johnson?
I think he got a pretty good chance if he has a strategy to get reelected.
What should his strategy be?
Um, I think it has to be to bring more people into the loop and not look like he's only representing two groups, which is the teachers union and and a small group of the old guard.
Hmm. Who does he need to get? Who does he need to pull in?
He need to pull in more blacks, more Hispanics, those people he's isolated over this immigration issue. He need to pull them back. If he pulled them back in, he's okay.
Now, Arlene said, well, how could he pull them back?
By you expand your policies. You
By
expand your policies and your range. You bring more people into the loop. Um, you don't just represent the teachers union. You seem to represent a broader coalition of people.
Mm-hmm. Arlene says that Black people in Chicago are too divided. Do you agree with that?
To divide it for what? To do what?
Oh, Arlene, why don't you follow that up? I think she was just making a blanket statement. That's what it appears at this time. But Arlene, follow that up if you can. And and Solomon says Brandon has no chance because he let the people down with the migrant issue. Is there any coming back from that? Because he has really taken a real hit on that issue.
Yeah, I think he can come back from that. I don't think that's a life and death issue. Particularly as Trump threatens these other issues and they become more broad. Uh, I think he probably needs to focus on more on Trump and what Trump is going to be doing than on the migrant issue. Not just the migrant issue, which is Trump is also doing, but I mean, employment, these uh, um, taxes that Trump has just put on all other businesses. I mean, I think he should become, a crusader for those things.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're going to see. I think Dr. LaShawn Latrice, you're not going to be on camera today, and that's fine. But let me bring you up. Um, Dr. Latrice, what are you hearing about Rahm Emanuel from people?
Can you hear me, Santita?
I can hear you, but you can stay off camera. That's okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna send some else out.
What do you make of this
Yeah, you had me wait.
attempt to rehabilitate him? What do you make of that? Dr. Latrice? Dr. Latrice? Okay, I need you to unmute yourself. So everybody, you tell me what you think. You said, Robert, you said that Mayor Johnson needs to clarify. And Solomon, you said the migrant issue was a threat because they were taking resources from the community to give to non-tax-paying migrants. But Solomon, they were brought in here. Let's be very, very clear. I told you about the Tent Partnership for Refugees. There is a corporate plan to bring them in here, just as there was a corporate plan to bring Black people in here to be enslaved. And we need to be very, very clear on that and be clear that we're fighting the same. We're fighting the same forces. They have never retired. Never, ever, ever, ever. So you got to think about that. We're blaming the wrong folks. And, just think about it. They brought in 38,000 Ukrainians, settled them in Chicago, and no one said a mumbling word. And they brought them in at one time in one little city, Chicago. No one said a word. No one said a word. Not one word. We don't even discuss it now. They've just been absorbed into the community. And that's right, Bernadette. You sound like my dad now. He says slave masters never retire. So you tell me, what your thoughts are. You said they were brought into Chicago and Brandon supported it. The corporation supported it. He is a mayor who's got to work with corporations. What he also tried to do was be humane. He didn't want to mistreat them and treat them poorly. They were purposefully dropped into an under-resourced community. They did not take them to Evanston. They did not take them to Skokie. No, they brought them to a community who has a life expectancy that is 30 years below that of the affluent white community in Chicago, and that was a plan. Oh, we need to look at that. I mean, my thing is, why don't we resource Inglewood? We can't fight. We're engaging in the wrong fight. But Dwight, you tell me. You think that you really believe that he has an opportunity to come back?
Who?
Brandon Johnson.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah, I
that's
do. I think that, he has a base. I think that if he cultivates his base and expand his range, I think he could come back.
okay. Well, I certainly am. I like him a lot. I would like to see that. Arlene, you say Black people have to stop blaming Mayor Johnson for the migrant crisis, but you're concerned that we want to punish him without understanding that losing power is their plan for Black Chicago. Absolutely. I agree with you. And we have got to be clear on that and stop blaming him and shaming him for wanting to be decent. And treat people well. Dr. Latrice, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so what do you make of this campaign to rehabilitate Rahm Emanuel?
I think it's repulsive. I can't even believe that anybody who has even witnessed a portion of what he's done could actually think that he was capable or worthy of such a position. Um, I am one of those people that when we were talking about this 6 months ago, I just did not think it was going to come to fruition. But I'm learning now that people have a very short memory when it comes to the damage that's done to us as Black people.
Hmm.
And we need to get to a place where we're not afraid to voice our concerns about certain actions, and we need to hold the elected officials that are not backing us up. We need to hold them accountable and possibly remove them out of their positions as well.
Okay, so what if he's appointed? Say, he is saying that he's not done with public life, and he hopes public life is not done with him. But there's a lot of speculation that he could be appointed to the U.S. Senate. And once he's appointed there, you can almost kind of you can nest there because if you raise a whole lot of money, that can be your spot. What do you make of that, Dr. Latrice?
If he goes to the U.S. Senate, I hope he doesn't represent this state,
Oh,
this
but he
region.
would. I mean, they're saying that
Well,
because
that's the same thing then as him trying to come back and be mayor, or like you said, I know I've always known that he's aspired to have higher office, just like I know many other people I have always known. But his reputation should precede him, and so the same measures that would prohibit him from being mayor or people voting him into that office should be the same measures that stops him from being appointed. So now we have to look at who would actually do the appointing.
well, that would be Governor Pritzker, and he has already tossed his support to Governor Pritzker, um, just way ahead of his reelection. So, what do you think about that? Because it seems like things are adding up, Dr. LaShawn Latrice, and they're pointing toward him being put in some position. So, what do you make of that? I mean, how do you think people will react to that? Does anyone remember Laquan McDonald and what happened
I
there?
know, right?
No, I'm
Uh,
asking.
the people that actually fought for a few years to try to get some justice for Laquan will not forget that, and they won't forget the role that he played. But also, we can't be afraid to hold those other people accountable who thinks that he's redeemable in so many words. It's almost like time has passed, so let the time pass, and the people will get over it. I mean, they've done that to us so many times that it's time out for us just letting people get away with that. So if the governor is going to be one of those people who turns a blind eye, then the governor should be the one that we should be talking to as far as holding accountable.
Hmm. So,
I think it's
what do
going to
you?
cause a big rough. I just think that it's going to be a big, big rift. And there should be so many other people that are just coming out like there. I can't believe that other people would not be saying anything. I'm not that surprised about some of the politicians because they seem to play games. And a lot of times when it comes down to the lives of us as Black people, we tend to act like if it's not us or our family, immediate people that we know, we're not necessarily speaking up for, but it's usually those people like myself and many others who put themselves on the line because they're trying to proactively stop something from impacting their families.
And Solomon, you're kidding me, right? You said, I hope you're not just supporting Brandon because he's Omega Sci Fi. I know you're joking. I didn't even know he was an Omega. And no, 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 I don't do that. I really don't care. My father's is a big Omega. My mother is a GDI, so I get it on both sides. So no, that's silly. But I knew you're having fun with me, so that's okay. Black Boule members, those of us who joined the sororities and fraternities, we were not looking at Boule. What black people did when these fraternities and sororities were started, black people were being lynched,
That's right.
Solomon. We were looking for our approach to these clubs and these sororities and fraternities is very different. What we've been doing has been trying to survive. So we would have to come up with secret clubs and sisterhoods and brotherhoods. So sometimes we get from one city to the next because you do know in many places in the United States we could not travel safely. We had to know where to stay. We had to stay at people's houses. When Sammy Davis, there was no bigger star in Las Vegas. He could not stay in the hotels initially. They used to have to stay in the black section of Las Vegas in people's homes. So all this talk about the Black Boule, that is not why people historically have joined these fraternities and sororities. No. And Black Boule members have not failed black people. The country has failed us. Some black folks have. Dr. King didn't fail you. Reverend Jackson didn't fail you. And with all due respect, what are you doing, Solomon? People have been working very hard. You're not going to a colored fountain. As such as it is, you can get black people elected to office. Only 11 of the 60-odd members of the Congressional Black Caucus now represent majority black districts. That is a sea change. Now, we have been gerrymandered out of power. Black people have been. But there are a whole lot of changes that have occurred in America. A lot. And a lot of them have been good. But the struggle continues. Victory is certain if it continues, but be real clear. The struggle does not stop. It does not stop. Nobody, please. My sorors and people I know in these fraternities, they are not even thinking about Boule. Nobody even talks about that. That's silly. So just stop. It's insulting. You know, this ain't no voodoo stuff. We do public service, and we do whatever we can to try and help move our people up, and that's that. And that's what I've got to say about that. So Dwight McKee, I mean, where do you see us going from here? I mean, because now it just, I mean, what do you make of this? A lot of people are saying that we should not be watching President Trump's speech tonight. Do you? And you know, and I hear what they're saying, and there's going to be a big, many independent black media persons, and some who are just black people in media are saying we're boycotting his speech, and what we're going to do is Reverend Dr. William Barber is going to be giving a speech, and everybody's going to do alternative programming until I think like 1:00 in the morning. What do you make of that?
I think it's a strategic mistake
Why?
because you need to, if you're gonna fight your enemy, you really need to know what his plans are and where he's trying to go. And even though I think that most of Trump's plans are just ad hoc, I think we need to know enough of what he's thinking that as we prepare to fight, we'll know what we're fighting against. I think it leaves us to make some strategic allies, like these government workers who are all getting fired, many of whom were MAGA or Republican, who didn't know what they was getting into when they put him in office.
So how do you make common cause with them? Because I mean, a lot of them, they're going to these town hall meetings, and they are furious with these congressmen. They're furious. How do you make the case to them?
I don't think you have to. I think he'll make his own case. when he dropped Social Security and cut some the tax rolls, and I think he'll do enough damage to himself. We just need to capitalize on it and be there to help pick up some of the pieces.
Well, you do know that former Governor O'Malley from Maryland did say that in 30 to 90 days, everyone, that these Social Security checks are going to slow down, if not outright stop. You saw that, right, Dwight?
No, I didn't see it, but I believe you.
Okay. What do you think is going on? Do you think the country's broke?
Yeah, the country is broke, no doubt about that. $17 trillion in debt.
No,
But I don't think that that's the
36.
goal, huh?
36.
Yeah, I think the goal is to invert the economy so the rich are richer and more in charge, so they can protect what interests that they have. I
Okay.
don't think they're trying to get out of debt.
What do you think? Well, if they're not trying to get out of debt, what do you think they're doing?
Like I just said, they're trying to invert the social order so that the richest are more rich and more in charge.
Well,
Right now, you got a two-man oligarchy.
mhm.
Two of the richest guys in the country running the whole country. I think they're trying to institutionalize that.
Well, I mean, and let me just say this. Solomon, you said Trump isn't cutting Social Security. There are dead people still getting paid. Elon uncovered this. Elon is not touching. Very few dead people are getting those checks. Uh, he's not touching the Pentagon, which has failed 7 consecutive audits. 7. Most of our budget is the Pentagon, Solomon. Most of the budget. So if you're really serious about cutting, you would cut the Pentagon's budget, but that's not what they're trying to do. And for his portion, the former head of the Social Security Administration, who's Martin O'Malley, the former governor of Maryland, he has said, look, checks could stop by April. By April, this is what he has been talking about. He said that the Doge cuts could soon trigger Social Security system collapse. The fact is, yes, President Trump is telling us that there will be no cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. But the cuts are already in effect, Solomon. What they've done is they have shifted the cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid to other agencies where they must find cuts. And the cuts are going to Social Security. Congressman Jonathan Jackson has explained that to us. That's happening. These people have been going after the social safety net for a long time. And it's here, Dwight.
Mm-hmm.
Here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Trump
But it
fired the
also
black
gives
man
us
that
a
was failing
chance.
I'm sorry, Dwight. Solomon said Trump fired the black man that was failing these Pentagon audits. And no, I did not. He was not there for 7 audits. This is not about a black man. These people, the Pentagon is the only government agency that does not have to give their surplus monies back. Every other government agency must. The monies that they don't spend, it's a black hole. Our business is war, Solomon. That's it. And the reason Europe is all in for Zelensky is because they want a war because they've got failing economies. That's how there's their plan to reboot their economy, to have a war with Russia. Really? Dwight McKee?
I was going to say that it also gives us a chance to organize that crowd as they become more disenfranchised. And they shall. They always thought that Trump was talking about somebody other than themselves. Now they understand that they are the ones that he had in mind when he was talking about cutting the budget and cutting this and cutting that and putting these people out of work. They always thought he was talking about us.
Mm-hmm.
not the issue discussed, but he was talking about them too. So it's a good time to organize some allies
Mhm.
and to come up with a game plan for these next 3 years.
Well, kind of chart it out for us. What do you think? I mean, what should we be doing on the ground? Because that's where the organizing is going to have to occur.
Well, I think let's start on the local level, put time in, the judicial system and the school boards and the basic stuff. And as we move to make these congressmen more accountable,
Hmm.
who right now scared to death. And what they're afraid of is a combination of Trump's money, Trump's influence, but Elon's money. Elon said he's going to primary them all out of Congress if they disagree with them. So you effectively have two men running the country uh, based on fear.
Hmm.
And Elon, given his budget, uh, even though I think he's going to pay a price for these tariffs, given his budget, he can take on anybody. And Trump, based on his influence. So the secret is going to be how do you shake these guys, these other Republicans, into consciousness, who was somewhere between, you know, fear and more fear.
Oh, they're frightened to death.
Mhm.
They're frightened to death because the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers are letting them know that they are watching.
Mhm.
So that's a very real thing. It's a very real thing. And I'm wondering what will be the fallout. I mean, because Martin O'Malley, who used to head the Secret Service, excuse me, the Social Security Administration, he said with these Doge cuts, because the cuts are already in there, Solomon, they are. And I'm going to listen to his speech tonight, but I'm also listening to the congresspersons who are looking at the budget, how it's constructed, and they are saying, look, the cuts are already in there. They're just not top line Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. They're being tucked into other agencies. So the cuts are there.
Mhm.
It's about to it's about to get real hectic. It really is. I mean, Dr. LaShawn Latrice, I don't think the people can handle that. I mean, just and he said, I would suggest, Martin O'Malley said, I would suggest you all start saving. Now, most people are living from paycheck to paycheck, Dwight. There's nothing to save.
Mhm.
What's that going to look like? Dwight, what is that going to look like?
Chaos. Because people are going to become hungry in the streets again. They're going to literally be looking for handouts. Because right now, most people over 60 only surviving on Social Security. They don't have any money. And that's when, I think that ultimately, if we're not careful, this is going to get to a bedlam. And and then get to the palace. I think there really could be a real revolution in this country as people begin to starve to death.
Particularly those who did not think it was going to happen to them, Dwight.
Absolutely.
This is a whole different kettle of fish.
Mhm.
These people, bless their hearts, they thought that Trump met everybody but them.
Mhm.
They had no idea. And it's not just Trump. I think austerity was coming because the country's broke.
Mhm.
I'm not making excuses for him, everybody, but I think this was coming.
Mhm.
This was coming because I mean, there's no money. Just, I mean, and if you listen to Elon Musk talk, I mean, I have never, Dwight, in my life seen this many publicly wealthy people on the front row at the inauguration. Never.
And I think that if they're not careful, People are going to storm the Bastille.
What does that mean?
It mean that same crowd that you saw on the 6th of January, that same crowd is going to reconvene and go after Trump then.
Do you think they know that?
No,
How could they? I mean, is it, as Chappelle says, well, people need to be in the streets protesting, and broken, hungry people will make a civil war. Mm. And what did you say? But Solomon says, wait till you hear about all the big businesses coming into America to invest, like Tim Cook with Apple. Do you think that's the answer, Dwight?
no, that's not. No.
And do you think that's going to happen?
Hmm?
Do you think that's going to happen?
It don't matter if there's no market for your product.
Well, now there's that.
And if there's no money, there's no market.
No money, no market. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, it's something to think about. And anytime the former head of the Social Security Administration is saying, save your money by April, these checks are going to stop coming. This is what the man has said, everybody. It's out here. And I'm not, this is not something that I'm wishing for. I'm just saying that he said, Martin O'Malley, the former commissioner of the Social Security Administration, said Monday that the recent cuts made by tech billionaire Elon Musk's Doge, Department of Government Efficiency, at the agency could result in the collapse, he put it, of the Social Security system within the next 30 to 90 days. He told this to CNBC. He said, ultimately, quote, ultimately, you're going to see the system collapse and an interruption of benefits, no checks. I believe you will see that within the next 30 to 90 days. Warning of these interruptions, O'Malley said, quote, people should start saving now. Close quote. That's what they're saying. And you have to listen to everything that these folks are saying. There's something that is going on. Solomon, you said Apple is investing half $500 billion. This will bring high-paying jobs to whom? They're not even letting people in school. Solomon, bless your heart. You know, we spend more time trying to affirmative action people out of school. We could be building more schools. We could be building more hospitals. We could be creating more people in the vocational spaces, more people in the academic spaces. But no, we don't want to do that. We want to argue about why you're an affirmative action or DEI baby. Well, this is where it's gotten us. Nowhere. And Dwight, I'm listening to that man because I think he knows what he's talking about, don't you?
Absolutely.
Well, that is bedlam. And what did Chappelle, you said, save what Social Security is not enough to live on? No, because by the time you get the check, you already owe it. And Solomon, you said the interruptions will come if the government is shut down due to the budget not being passed. It's going to come anyway. There's not enough money. That's why they're trying to lift the debt ceiling. The money ain't there. And no one really wants to talk about that. So get serious. Let us get serious. Really. We need to read the tea leaves. Read the tea leaves, everybody. So you know what, Dwight, I have a couple more minutes here. Dr. Latrice, I don't know if you can unmute yourself, but I only have a couple minutes left, and I wanted to give them to you all. Dr. Latrice, what do you see? We've covered Social Security. We've covered a whole lot of things. I just need you to roll up your window. I need you to be in a quiet place so we can get the best sound possible.
What I see, Santita, is the world is in a very detrimental state right now, and like Mr. McKee was saying, if we don't galvanize and pull the energy together and unite, it's going to get worse and worse, and there's economic downfall is imminent. So right now, my call would be for people to pay attention to everything that's being said, and everything that's being laid before you, and to get hold of some knowledge, some information on the things that they may not be familiar with, and try to see what they could do to impact change and unite with people so that we can make a louder voice.
Dwight McKee, your final thoughts?
I see the tribulation. I see Revelation 17, uh, the seals and the horses. I'm seeing the end of things. And so I think everybody should find Jesus and luxuriate in that because I don't see a solution otherwise.
Well, Roberta Flack sang as I get prepared to go to her service next Monday. I told Jesus it would be all right if you changed my name. We are in a time of tribulation, everybody. And instead of getting these individual chicken dinners, we're gonna have to get buckets again. And Reverend Dr. Robert Schuller said, "Tough times never last, but tough people do." And we can become better if we don't become bitter, and that certainly is my prayer. I agree we shouldn't be giving Ukraine any more money. I told you I disagreed with that war from the jump. Dwight and I disagreed, and many people were upset when I said, what are we doing over there? What are we doing? Why? And guess what, everybody? This mineral deal that everybody says Trump is trying to steal everything from the Ukrainians. Guess what? Did you know that on January 16th, Britain signed a deal, that same deal with the Ukrainians? They haven't told you that, have they? Yeah, January 16th. You could go on the you could go on the British government website and see it. For gas, for minerals, yeah, that's what they said. They already signed the deal. So how about them apples? Think about that, everybody. I am Santita Jackson. In the next hour, let's talk about the red lines, the political red lines. I mean, does anyone have an insult level? That's what I want to know. More of the Santita Jackson Show in the second hour. Back in just a minute. AM 950 Radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota.